So, last time we did a tier list. We did Sonic the Hedgehog 1 zones. That was interesting. I mean, I've got a lot more experience with the game we're about to discuss than I did Sonic 1. That's one thing for sure. I don't know about you, but I played a lot more of Sonic 2 than I have Sonic 1.
Yeah, definitely. Always getting all the Chaos Emeralds as fast as I can, just so I can just blast through the game.
You know what? Ironically, that is one thing that I've never done. I never blasted them.
Oh, really?
I have gotten Supersonic once on Sonic 2. I've never blasted through the game to do it, because I know it's very easy to just use every checkpoint and get it by, like, Chemical Plant or something like that. But yeah, never done. I always just beat the game, like, regularly. So maybe it's something I should try at some point. Today, we are discussing Sonic the Hedgehog 2, their zones, and where we rank them. The Sonic the Hedgehog 2 zones are, I would say, pretty consistent compared to, say, Sonic 1 or Sonic 3. Now, my reason for saying that is I feel like Sonic 3's got higher highs and quite low lows. Sonic 1 has a couple, not many, but a couple of highs and a fair few lows. Whereas I feel like this game, until we'll talk about it, but it is fairly consistent across the board, right? What do you classify as the worst one? That's a good place to start. So where are we putting the worst zone?
Oh, well, the worst zone, I mean, I'm sorry, it might be cool, but it's Sky Chase.
Sky Chase zone.
Yeah, it has to, unfortunately. Like, it's cool being in the sky, but it's just a slow-moving auto-scroller.
I don't literally have anything to disagree with you there. Like, on the Sky Chase zone is probably the worst zone in the game by quite a long way. Yeah,
but even so, it might be the worst zone in Sonic 2. It's still better than Labyrinth Zone.
We have to throw shade on our last video here. It is probably still... It's close. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up.
On stage and you get it over and done with.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I mean... I genuinely think that Sky Chase is... It's kind of... It feels like a filler to me. It feels very sort of... It's there, but not in a good way. Like, it's not painful like Labyrinth Zone. It's not... It's not difficult. In fact, you'd argue it might be the easiest zone in the game. You know, it's pretty hard to die once you know what you're doing. Unlike the other zones where if you're going so fast, or sometimes you might forget or... do a misinput. It's pretty hard to die in Sky Chase once you know what you're doing. It's just kind of boring. I'm okay with saying that. It's kind of boring.
You kind of blast through like every stage and you just come in and just suddenly slow down and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's exactly it, dude. That's exactly it. So I do think I'm very comfortable putting Sky Chase as the worst zone. It's also probably got the worst theme. So they simultaneously sort of... interlock as putting Sky Chase as the worst zone in this game. C tier. Now, this is where I feel like the conversation's a little more interesting. I'll throw one out there for what I think's next, and we'll sort of like interchange if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay.
I'm thinking Wing Fortress Zone.
Yeah, that's the next one I was thinking of.
It feels very endgame, which puts it above Sky Chase. You can actually run. Like, I know you sort of do on the plane and it moves the plane and all, but at least this is a zone that's like all the other Sonic zones, I guess. They know it's bad because they only gave it one act. Yeah, there's no like second Wing Fortress, and I'm glad there isn't as well.
Yeah,
the theme's also not great. I know it's a bit harsh, but again, I don't think the theme's that good. It's got the epic sound to it, so it sounds very grand, orchestral. But
but
it's not that fun, really, is it?
No, it's only a slight step. Well, as the tier list also implies, it's only a slight step above the worst.
There are some positives, though. I don't think it's all bad. I think you can get speed on Wing Fortress. You really have to know what you're doing to get the speed, though. Like,
because there are a lot of instant kill death zones, unfortunately, which is the only downside to it. But then it is also pretty much the only zone, apart from Sky Fortress, barring that, it's the only zone that's in the sky, and that's kind of really possible.
If I'm going to die in Wing Fortress, it's one of two places. It's at the very start, and I'll have to watch that cutscene of Tails flying me in again, and I'm like, cheers. This is so slow. Yes, you're going to get shot down, Tails. Predictable. Or it'll be, you know where the platforms go up and down, and there's like 3 rows of them, and then you've got to jump across the platforms to the other side, left to right, very, very fast. That'll be the other place I die, in the bottomless pit. Otherwise, I feel like Wing Fortress is fairly smooth, but now it gets a little bit more interesting. We'll probably throw a couple more in where we think. Where would you go next? We'll go bottom to top. What zone would you say is probably a C tier?
I was going to say, are we going to include the very last zone with the final boss? Because that is, I see that on the tier list right there.
I would say so, yeah. I'd say that's definitely, yeah.
That's another C tier, but for a different reason.
Okay, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, the fact that there were 0 rings.
I think that's a fair shout. It does make it quite difficult.
And you have 2 bosses that you absolutely cannot mess up on.
Yes, this is true. This is true. I don't mind Death Egg. I think Death Egg is still C tier. Definitely agree with you. But I do think it's
really
better
challenging
than the other 2. I know Sonic 1 didn't for its final boss, but I feel like Sonic 1 final boss, the positive spin on that was that it only had 2 variations of attacks. It was a very easy pattern. And when you died, you'd get squished. So even if you had rings, you would have died anyway. So it feels okay. So I think Death Egg's definitely a C tier, but it's got some positives. The theme's awesome, not the boss theme, but you know when you instantly load into the level and it's like deal. Oh, it is so good, so good.
It's very spacey and kind of well, kind of like it's kind of like if you're like watching like the end of an Alien film, like very spacey and very epic.
Yeah, for sure. It's got that sort of sci-fi.
The Sega twang.
Yeah, the Sega twang. It's got a bit of flavour.
Wow.
It's got a little bit of that spice on it.
Yeah.
You sink your teeth and you're like, ooh, that tastes good. Next, I would say I'm torn between 2 here.
What, Oil Ocean and Metropolis Palace? Not Palace, Metropolis.
No, you're right. Metropolis Zone.
Metropolis Zone, yeah.
Oil Ocean and Metropolis. And here's my hot take. You know, so far, I feel like this is a very vanilla tier list. But I don't hate Metropolis Zone as much as a lot of people. I get it. I totally get it. But then I look back at Sonic 1. And I'm like, it's better than Scrap Brain. It's better than Labyrinth. And it's better than Marble. You can go fast. If you know what you're doing. That's always a caveat with the bad zones. You've really got to know. But you can go fast. I get the enemy placement is garbage, but once you do know they're there, it's okay. There's a few cheap ones, like there's a few crabs in places where they're just going to hit you off.
The slicers.
Yeah, and I get there's a few starfish problems, but you can slow down on the old spinneroos. Like, I actually think I prefer Metropolis Zone to Oil Ocean, personally. Let's talk Oil Ocean. So, as you said, the problem is the actual ocean mechanic itself, while you won't die that often in there. If you do find yourself in it, you're at the bottom of the zone, and then it's a pain in the arse to get back up to the
try
top
and get out.
quick.
Yeah. And that's the problem.
And I think there's things that take away from it as well. Yeah, the green chutes, I don't really know what to call them. The green platforms that rise with the flamethrowers.
Yeah, the flame, yeah, they're also kind of annoying as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't mind them like occasionally, but there's loads of them. And there's loads of automated segments that feel like a worse version of Chemical Plant Zone's pipes. So you know when you go into the pipes in Chemical Plant Zone and you dash around, it feels really cool, you'll pop out somewhere else. In Oil Ocean, it does that with like the air suction things, and like dart you around. But for some reason, I literally just pure subjectivity, it isn't as cool to me. I don't have any reason on. It's probably just the theme of Oil Ocean as well. Like, I don't know. It's like that's a cool sci-fi element of Metropolis and the zones that come after, and like the Death Egg. But then it's also, it's not as cool as the zones that came before, the more natural wildlife-oriented ones. I know exactly what you mean. It's the worst, if I say proper zone in the game, because obviously the 3 we've done, it seems a little harsh in some ways, but they are there because of the issues they have. But Oil Ocean should be a good zone, but it's just not.
On paper, it should be.
Yeah. Which moves us on to B tier. Is this controversial though? Because I know the common opinion.
Not really. But I'm going to be honest. The rest of the zones are. I mean, like for starters, we'll put Metropolis in as like the bottom of B tier, just because of the ciphers. Yeah, but either way, as you said, you can at least run, and that is good. It's still a good. The aim rate's a bit longer than the others. Even if you know what you're doing, it's still the fact that you can run through it. And honestly, like I said, the cipher things are just a little bit of an annoyance, really.
For sure, there's a lot of mini annoying gimmicks.
Yeah,
and I will admit that they are all there, and the enemy placement is kind of garbage, and they're just to spite you. But it's not stop. Like I find the only time I stop is when you're on the cogs that turn up and down that you need to run on. But the premise of it, at least it makes you feel like you're going fast, you're still interacting with it, sort of thing. Exactly.
And there's little starfish things that kind of just like pop off as well, like when you're trying to run up the screwdriver. Oh no, the nuts and bolt thing.
Yes, that's exactly it. And you've got those. Forgive the terminology here, guys, because we are not sure what all these parts are of the engines. But you know the cylindrical sort of thing where you run around it in like a 360-degree motion. If you know what I mean. You run from left to right, and he'll go vertical around it and left to right.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Like the first time I did it, I was like, "Wow, this is like really cool." You don't really get that in a lot of platformers at the time. It's sort of breaking the traditional left to right system that had been set up. It's 3D. Obviously, it wasn't nothing like 3D, but it makes it feel like he's going to the back of the stage and to the front. Just a simple effect, and that was pretty cool. And you get a lot of speed from doing that as well when you run through them.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, the music is a lot better than Oil Oceans as well.
Oh yeah, Metropolis Zone has one of the best themes I'd say in the game. Like the actual theme, that's the thing that gets me through it. I look forward to Metropolis more than I look forward to Oil Ocean. Hence, I think that's why we put it in B rather than C.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing is, with Metropolis, it didn't. I know we touched it briefly. It really didn't need 3 acts, and that's why it can't go any higher than where it is. You are right here. I've not really thought about it though, which is good. So in my head, I was going to put Aquatic Ruin Zone next, but I do think you're right. I think Mystic Cave, the reason I like it, is subjectivity. It's not. I'm not being quite objective. You are right. There's a lot of things that squish you. There's a lot of stop-start, which is a problem. I think of the wooden boxes that go around, like the trios of them. I think of the vines that you need to grab to activate like bridges. There's the death pit, the infamous death pit as well, by the way.
I mean, all the death pits are bad, but that one in particular is the worst. But for the most part,
you get caught by the pillars, you know, the ones that drop down when the bottoms break if you've gone the underwater route.
Oh yes, you're right. That is true.
And they have got me when I have fallen down, but now, to be honest with you, how I play these games is through Origins. So if I fall, I'm that petty. If I do mess up and fall into the water, and
you're just going to restart the level.
Restart the level and just take the top route and just learn from the mistake. It doesn't happen as often anymore. But I genuinely have gotten to the point where I can't be bothered to do the bottom route of Aquatic Ruin. I did it a lot growing up, and ever since Origins came out, I'm just glad I couldn't do that. So thank you, Sega. Good port decision again. Yeah, to Mystic Cave, I think I agree with you. Despite the theme being one of my favourites,
it is one of mine as well, because it's very boppy and like it's very like Halloweeny actually.
You know what I compared it to in my stream?
What?
So when you guys may have seen it, the Sonic 1 to 3 OST ranking video, I compared the Mystic Cave theme to a Scooby-Doo game, right? Maybe like a Carnival on like a SNES or a Sega, like a classic SNES or the Mega Drive. And it had that very, like, as you say, weird, spooky Halloween ambience to it. You can imagine it like a cursed fairground sort of thing. It's really cool. But then quite the beat as well. I do quite like the theme. There's the infamous pit, but the infamous pit has been changed in Origins, and I do quite like it. Do you know what it's been changed to?
What? Oh no. What happened in it?
So there's now Hidden Palace Zone exclusively in Origins.
Oh, is that how you access it?
That's how you access Hidden Palace Zone. Yeah.
I wondered, like, because I did hear that they did actually add Hidden Palace in Sonic Origins. See, this is why I'm liking Sega a lot over the last couple of years. They're actually they're doing a decent job, at least like with the pause. I mean, some games have kind of fell by the wayside, but at least the important Sonic games, because these are really important games to video game history and video games as a whole, make no doubt about that.
Yeah, but I completely agree.
But if they've changed that to the hidden paths, that is really sick. So now I'm inclined to play it again just to go and find out, because I've always wondered about it, because I always heard that it was that missing zone that everyone just talked about.
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool. And obviously it's a reference to Sonic 3, the next game coming up as well. So if you play them for the first time through, it's quite cool if that is how you access Hidden Palace.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a thing till I accidentally did it in Origins. And I was like, wait, what's going on? I thought I was dead here. Why aren't I dead? Where's the pit? And then you fall down, you get a new animation where he drops through, like the Sonic 3 one where he falls in Hydrosity, I think it was.
Oh!
And clearly they put a lot of effort into it, and Sega didn't need to do that, as you said.
They didn't, but they did it anyway, and that, like, I can't complain, really.
And that's the only thing that brings Mystic Cave up for me on the flip side. So now I'm really torn between that and Aquatic. You know what? I'll put Aquatic next to it. We talk about Aquatic and really see how we feel. Whereas Aquatic Ruin, I have a few problems, but there are some good things as well. I'd say overall, the highs of Aquatic Ruin, if it goes well, it probably is better than Mystic Cave. If you do manage to stick to the top route, you have a good time running through, you stick to the loop-de-loops, you hit all your jumps right, you go over the springs, and you never touch the water. Aquatic Ruin's a perfectly just good zone. Not amazing, but perfectly fine. But
Mystic Cave, actually, like, just because, like, okay, you can get squished a lot more, fair enough. But you can go fast pretty much all the time, for the most part. Apart from, obviously, with the divine switches and the bridges and everything. And also, like, with the slow stair things that have the spikes on the end, you have to kind of just be careful of as well.
Yes.
You know, when they're slowly coming out, the 3 ones where it's like 1, 2, 3.
And then you have to take your time, making sure you get your jump right.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. There's a couple of things in Aquatic Ruin that do get to me as well, personally. The things that shoot the arrows. If you go too fast or too slow, they're going to hit you. Like, you can actually go so fast and do really well that they will hit you, so you have to slow down, because they will keep travelling as long as they are on screen. Like, they will not stop. True. And that is really frustrating to me.
Yeah.
The enemy pop-up, I think, is worse than Metropolis. You know the robots?
You mean, like, the ones that come out the walls, right?
Yeah. You know where the springs and the loop-de-loops are? No matter what, you dodge the first one, you know it's coming, you feel good. There's a second, it'll pop out the wall, you get to the top of the U shape, and there's one going from left to right or right to left. It will hit you as soon as you make it at the top. And I'm just so frustrated when I get hit by those, because you can be having a great time, and the worst is a few of them knock you into the water.
Oh, yeah.
And that just sucks, because I have to restart the level, because I can't be bothered for water.
Yeah, of course.
So I think
water's literally Sonic's worst enemy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And Tails, he can swim, Sonic can't. And I'm not picking Tails alone when I play Sonic 2. I do the classic combo of Sonic and Tails. There's definitely a standout zone for the next one.
Yeah.
I think there's one that's...
well, Casino Night... Well, between Casino Night and... what's the zone called again? The Hilltop, that's it.
Yeah, for me it's got to be Hilltop next, right?
But that is actually a really good zone. Again, it's one of those ones where, like... It's like a better version of Labyrinth. No, not Labyrinth. Marble Zone from Sonic 1. It's a better version of that.
And also a better version of the third zone in Sonic 3 as well, I'd argue. Is it Marble Garden, it's called?
Yes. Yeah. Because that's the one where you have to, like, spin on the rotating things.
Oh, that.
To change parts of the level. Also, it can take a while to complete that level.
For sure.
But again, we'll bring that up in the next time.
Completely agree. But Hilltop is that style of level, as you've said.
Yeah.
Done right and well. I'd say it's our first A tier. Hilltop, it's pretty exhilarating when you've got the lava rising. You got to jump from platform to platform. Again, it's done well, and if you go quick, you can make your way through that very, very fast. There's a lot of loop-the-loops where if you spin dash, you can break through the floor and take some quicker routes. There's a high route, a low route. Oh, Hilltop's great. It is what I love about Sonic level design. I think that the boss is also pretty cool. It's oil oceans, but you can't stay in the oil, which I quite like.
Yeah.
I think that's important to mention, that all the bosses from now as well are pretty, at least okay. They're at least okay. I understand the first zone's boss isn't the best, But
yeah,
I actually quite like all of the bosses in the levels coming up. But yeah,
for
Hilltop
sure.
with Hilltop, it's a fun one to damage boost through. So if you go to play this game as quickly as you can, whether you're Supersonic or regular Sonic, if you're regular, I genuinely, you know where you're going across the platforms that slowly go from left to right, and you got like the purple dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I just jump down straight into the lava, grab a ring, and just run across it. And if you're quick enough, you can literally just do that.
You just make it enough. Yeah, because it's not it doesn't count as a bottomless pit. It just counts as just a damaging surface.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I really do not have a problem with damage boosting through Hilltops. It makes it really quick. There's no really, as you said, there's not many death pits. There's like one or two with the platforms, but you kind of have to go out of your way to fall down those.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Next, I think I agree with your shout.
What, with Casino Night?
I think it's Casino Night.
Yeah. Now, like Casino Night, I actually really like the zone just because you can mess about with the actual casino stuff and just see how many rings that you can get. I really do like that. That's just it's one of those things where it's like you really don't have to, and you really don't need to, but you can.
And yeah, I completely agree. And also, with Casino Night, this is a hot take, a really hot take. I think it's the best rendition, still to this day, the best rendition of a casino-themed level. I think it's better than Carnival.
Carnival Night is trash.
Yeah, for sure. It's better than Carnival. It's better than Spring Yard. Spring Yard sort of hints to it, you know, with a lot of the level layout, and you can jump on those, like the springs, funny enough, and the ball things that bounce you around.
Yeah,
like sort of a casino level. It's better than Bingo Highway from Heroes. It's better than...
Bingo Highway was annoying.
Yeah, it's... I'm trying to think of the others. I think it's the best rendition of the Casino Night sort of theme.
Even the flow of the actual level is really good.
Yeah, completely agree. You can bounce off of enemies, the speed boxes, so you can go really fast. When you are darting around, it doesn't take long to charge the springs up. As you said, there's loads of rings to be had. There's things that will send you flying everywhere. Like, Casino Night's great. You know what? I've almost talked myself into liking it more than the next level. I may have done that. How do you feel about this?
Well, because it's not as it's just basically a Green Hill Zone 2.0.
It really is. It really is. And while that's not a bad thing, it's not as iconic.
No.
It's
the boss is cool. Yeah. I do like the boss.
I agree. It genuinely just feels like it's not worse than Green Hill. It's literally just equal to, but Green Hill did it first and was the iconic one.
Yeah.
So for me,
I think Green Hill looks a lot better than Emerald Hill as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I also prefer the theme. The Emerald Hill still has a great theme.
Yeah, it's still good, but not as. But Green Hill is just like, that's the one thing. Like, if you play that song, if you play Green Hill's theme, everyone will know where it comes from. But Emerald Hills, yeah, I mean,
there'll be some.
Again,
there'll be a large amount.
Quite a lot of people that would know, but still not more iconic than Green Hill.
I think whilst we're having this as well, I actually want to rectify something on the tier list here. I would argue Emerald's the lowest in A tier. It's not a bad level at all, but it's the start. In the second game, it's the start of the Green Hill Zone clone, and that's something that's haunted Sonic for what feels like the series age.
Yeah, because Sega and Sonic Team cannot seem to let Green Hill Zone or any Green Hill type of level go. Like, even as Sonic Advance 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There was only going to be one zone. We both knew for the best zone in the game.
And this zone is so good, but they actually they remade it for Sonic Generations.
Yes, it's the equivalent of Green Hill Zone for Act 2. Do you know what I mean? If we look at a second level in a Sonic game, this zone has defined what it takes to be a perfect second level, and that is Chemical Plant Zone.
It's got a bopping theme. It's got a bopping theme. It's you know what? The water segments aren't really that bad. Again, it's one of those things. It's not as egregious as Aquatic Zone. This is the thing. Like, okay, again, there are a couple of parts where you can get squashed, but for the most part, you can just avoid the water for for most of the zone, and it's not even that difficult.
I completely agree. If you're good at the level, you don't go in the water. The boss is probably one of the more challenging ones in the game, ironically. Especially if you have tails, because hitboxes, and you'll go through, well, there's a chance you could go through, go into the water.
The floor, yeah. That bit's always kind of annoying.
You, and then they knock you into the water. It really doesn't feel like your fault, but it can happen.
No.
No, Chemical Plant is amazing. It's probably the quickest zone in 2D Sonic history, I want to say. Not in terms of how quickly you can do it, but the speed you reach and how, the most important part is how consistently you go fast. Your speed is so consistent, and there's some things where if you go fast enough you can skip parts of the level as well. I've only just started getting into that, but there's a couple of parts towards the end of like Act 2 that you can skip if you get enough speed. Again, the water segment, you can just zoom across it after touching the spring. I think that the design itself, how you have to loop back on yourself, so you start Act 1, you actually come back near to where you start that act all the way again to finish the level, but it will only unlock when you get towards the end of it. If you've ever looked at the whole map for the level layout, it's really, really cool. I love Chemical Plant Zone. I think it's one of my favourite Sonic zones ever, let alone just this game. But that is the tier list, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, Chris.
You're welcome. I've had a lot of fun, just like last time.
Yeah, it was awesome. And if you guys have any opinions, be them controversial or in agreement, or you just enjoyed watching, be sure to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. We'll be doing more separately. But if you guys did enjoy it, be sure to let us know. And yeah, thank you for watching. We shall catch you next time, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.